What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. Welcome to MLB Confidence Meter. Yes, of course, we are on Tier Maker. As you can see, I have every playoff team plus the team that's one off the wild card. So I have the fourth wild card team, for instance, the Rangers and the Reds, as you can see. Also, as you can see, we have tiers over 80%, 60 to 80%. They're in increments of 20. I'm pretty sure you can tell that. Don't forget to like, subscribe. How I'm doing this is, there's not many teams over 80. All these teams here have a chance, but none of them are really powerhouses. I'm not even sure if that top tier is going to get used, to be honest with you. But let's go over it. Like, subscribe, said it already. Detroit Tigers, they're in like the 40 to 60 range for me specifically because they have a bunch of good hitters. I don't think they have a single elite hitter. Riley Green is the closest thing they have to it, and he has a strikeout problem. I think he almost leads the league in Ks. It's like 175. He's going to finish with close to a 200 strikeout season. Pretty damn high, right? Otherwise than that, you got some other decent bats. The Dingle, my boy Dylan Dingler, the Dingle. Gleyber Torres, of course, that's another one of my guys. Like a lot of the players on their team. Plus pitching. Let's be honest about their pitching. Tarek Skubal might be the best pitcher in the game. That's not really debatable. He's in the top 5 at least, right? Outside of that, where's it go? Jack Flaherty's been mid. Reese Olson's hurt. Casey Mize is like, okay. It's not a very deep pitching staff. My boy Montero is over there. Keeter Montero. He's not really having a great year either. I think I could reasonably even put them lower. But I think I still want to give them benefit of the doubt because they are still winning games despite not having the greatest pitching staff right now at the moment. Their bullpen is spectacular, though. Herter, Canely, a bunch of other guys coming out of that pen. They got a lot of guys over there that throw well. Will Vest, of course. They have a great bullpen in my eyes. It's just the starting rotation's pretty rough outside of the one guy at the top. In the hitting, like I said, there's not a single elite hitter, I wouldn't say. Kerry Bonds is one of my favorites. Riley Green is too, but they have 0 hitters on their team with an over 900 OPS. Think about that one. I'm not saying you have to have a 900 OPS player to be an elite team, but it would definitely help. And especially on the confidence meter, it would definitely help knowing they had a star elite level hitter. And I just don't think Riley Green's in that tier yet. Toronto Blue Jays. I actually have more confidence in them than the Tigers, even though the Tigers have more wins. Simply put, the Blue Jays have better hitting. I think that's as far as it really needs to go. Al Kirk is a really good hitter. He's on par with Dingler in terms of OPS plus, I'm pretty sure. But Vladdy, Springer, these guys can really dent baseballs. Right, and even their complimentary guys are just stupid annoying. Ernie Clement. You know how annoying it is to face goddamn Ernie Clement? Trust me, my Yankees have faced him numerous times. He just doesn't get out in the batter's box. You're going to have to make a crazy play to get him out, it seems. The one thing I like that the Blue Jays, I think, have on Detroit, in my opinion, is their starting rotation's still healthy. Like, at least moderately healthy. Gausman's still there. Barrios is still there. And then who's their third starter again? Not Yariel Rodriguez. Bassett. That's what I was thinking of. I knew it was Barrios and Bassett. There we go. Yeah, and then they also have Shane Bieber, who's healthy now. He's only thrown like 12 innings, but in those 12 innings, he's looked pretty damn good, in my opinion. I like what I've seen out of Shane Bieber, and their bullpen is kind of a little bit more shaky. That's where they lose me versus like a Detroit-level team. Detroit, once you get to the 8th, it feels like pretty shut down. You can score on Will Vest, but it's just hard to do. The thing is, you get to the back end of that Blue Jays bullpen, you get Brendan Little and his sick-ass curveball. He's hard to hit, even though he did just have a blow-up the other night. You're also going to see Yariel in some situations. And then you're also going to see Jeff Hoffman, who's blown his fair share of saves this year, too. I like Braden Fisher. I like Jimmy Garcia. I have more confidence in their hitting over the Detroit Tigers hitting, I guess, because they do have 2 to 3 elite-level hitters at their position. Vladdy's one of the best hitting first basemen in baseball. George Springer is having an insane season that nobody's really talking about. He's come back and just been great. Even Addison Barger as a complimentary guy is all right. I think I like their rotation a bit more, too, though, because they have established guys. Gausman, Barrios, Bassett, Bieber. That's already big 4. You move Eric Lauer back to the bullpen. I don't know why they did that. He's been throwing positive innings. You want to run a 5-man rotation and you keep Max Scherzer in? I don't know. Eric Lauer will definitely strive coming out of the bullpen, I think. But overall, I kind of like Lauer as a starter. And they move back to a 5-man rotation. I'm not really against it. Oh, Davis Schneider's come back and been pretty good this year, too. I don't know, man. The Blue Jays team is so damn fun to watch, but also I wish they weren't in my division. I wish they weren't in the AL East. If the Blue Jays were a Central team, I'd love the way this team's built. Unfortunately, my Yankees, have to see them far too often, and then it becomes less entertaining to watch them. Houston Astros, I think they're going to join Detroit because their hitting is pretty close, in my opinion. You think about it, Jose Altuve's having a decent year, Correa's having a decent year, Yordan's working back, he just kind of got back. But overall, their hitting is like, they have good hitters, but I don't think it's an overall deep lineup. Yainer Diaz has been like, okay. And so has Christian Walker recently, even though in the Angels series, I think he was kind of stinky. But before that, Christian Walker had been heating up. Could put them higher, honestly, because their starting pitching is really what worries me. But recently, they've gotten some good starts out of what's named Tyler Alexander, the former A, I think. He's been really good for them. Is it Tyler Alexander? I'm pretty sure. Jason Alexander. My bad. This close. Not really. But overall, their pitching has been not great, but they're getting help. Alexander, like I just mentioned, but you still have the top two, Brown and Valdez, which helps you out a lot. It's just their lineup, man. Dubon is pretty mid. Walker, if Walker goes cold again, man, you're talking about a completely different lineup. Yordan's working his way back. Isak's injured. That sucks. That was like the one guy I really was rooting for with the Astros this year was Isak, but down he went. And down he went. Josh Hader, down he went. He's done until the playoffs. I mean, I don't know when he's coming back. I don't know even if even if the Astros know when he's coming back, it seems. I don't doubt his ability to come back before the season. It's Josh Hader. He's a pretty tough guy. But I don't know. It's in doubt for sure. But their bullpen's still pretty damn good, man. You look at it, they still have Brian Abreu. They still have King. They still have Okert. They still have, what's his name? Bennett Souza is who I was thinking of. They still have a good number of bullpen guys. Of course, Abreu hasn't really pitched the ninth as much, but he's slowly working. I mean, he's slowly getting there. I believe in that. You know what? I could move them up because as much as I don't love the back end of their rotation, you only really need like 3 starters come playoff time. You know what I mean? You're not throwing your 5 starter in most games. I don't know. I could move them up because rotations slim down in the playoffs, but at the same time, their hitting is okay in some areas, not great in others. Like I said, you know, you're starting Mo Dubon. Jake Myers has actually had a pretty damn good year. I was going to say something bad about Jake Myers, but I can't. He's actually having a pretty damn good year. Overall, the Astros confidence level, I think 40 to 60 is fine. I don't know. I don't believe in them as much as I do Toronto because Toronto just has a bunch of all right hitters and a bunch of all right pitchers. The Astros, it's like you're either really good or not playable. My New York Yankees are going into the 20 to 40. They're going to be the first team in the 20 to 40. They have the talent level, and I think everyone knows that. I think we all do. You look around the diamond, you see Paul Goldschmidt, Ben Rice playing first base. That's a really, really good platoon, especially with how good Goldschmidt's been eating up lefties. Ben Rice eats up the righties. Second base, Jazz Chisholm. He's been fantastic this year. Shortstop, that's where things get tricky. I'm not going to mention. You know what? Aaron Judge, a few years ago, was chasing down Maris and all them, the home run record, 60-plus homers, whatever. Anthony Volpe said, I got you, Aaron. I'm going to put up 60 errors in a year. He's on pace. No, he's probably not going to put up 30 errors. Probably not even going to put up 20. Well, he could put up 20 errors. If he gets to 20 errors, oh my lord. But even then, we're talking about talent level. Third base, you move over Ryan McMahon. I see a lot of Yankees fans don't like Ryan McMahon. I freaking love Ryan McMahon. If you're telling me the alternative to Ryan McMahon was still rocking LeMahieu Peraza, bro, what do you want? What do you want? Not every position on your team is going to have an 850 OPS. Not everyone. As long as he doesn't make errors, plays a great glove, which he has, I'm not getting the complaints here. I know you want him to be a better hitter, and that's respectable. But he's the same hitter he was in Colorado. It's the same hitter. He walks, he strikes out, and he hits bombs. That's Ryan McMahon. That's what you got, because he can pick it. That's why you got him, is because he can pick it. And guess what he's done really well since he's come to New York? He's a really damn good fielding third baseman. Not to mention their outfield has some of the two best lefty hitters in baseball right now, in Grisham and Bellinger. Bellinger is the best. He just is the best lefty hitter, lefty hitter in the sport, lefty versus lefty. Grisham's done relatively well too, I believe. I'd have to look at the split numbers again, but and then obviously Dominguez, Judge. There's talent level here. Their pitching level is like, I don't know. You're relying on Fried, Rodon, or your top two. And then after that, it's Schlitt. I love Cam Schlittler. I'm a big Cam Schlittler guy. Not a big Will Warren guy myself, but there's talent level here. They just don't beat good teams. That's the kicker. This is the Moneyball part where it's like they get on base, except they just don't beat good teams. They don't. They've won 7 out of their last 8 because they were softies. They were given soft toss to hit homers, right? They need to this next week stretch. Astros, Blue Jays, and then I think like Red Sox after that. It's a lot of like top AL opponents. They're going to need to go through them, and this is a big week. It's just a big week, and this will determine whether they belong down here or up here. Right now they're up here because they got some momentum. Sure, they beat some softies, but you still have to beat who's in front of you. This is the type of team that could lose 2 out of 3 to the White Sox is what I'm saying, but they at least beat them handedly, But if you go into Houston, lay an egg, and then come back, play Toronto, lay an egg, all right, season's over. You know what I mean? But for right now, they got to stay up here. You got to have some optimism because you love the sport. Red Sox, I actually am going to put it with the Blue Jays. Their hitting is mixed. I think their pitching is where you're fine. I saw an article from Jim Bowden. I think it's Bowden. He was talking about how he doesn't know about the Red Sox in the playoffs because they're back in rotation. You're talking about Walker Buehler. Well, Walker Buehler just got DFA'd, picked up by the Phillies. But you're talking about the back end of their rotation is pretty bad. Dustin May is terrible. But, again, we talked about this before with, like, Toronto or Houston. Actually, it was with Houston. Playoff rotation shrink. You're not going to throw your 5-starter most times. You're going to be relying on your top 3 in the playoffs. And their top 3, Crochet, Giolito, Bayo. That's rock solid, one of the best. You know what I mean? Their lineup is okay. It's a lot of young guys, so you're never sure what you're going to get on a day-to-day basis, to me at least. But you have some vets in the lineup, Bregman, Story's coming around, even though he hit the worst home run I've ever seen in Major League history, maybe. But like Ceddanne Rafaela, Wilyer Abreu, it's a good hitting team. Carlos Narvaez isn't bad either. My confidence level is higher than that of the other teams because at least they have a 3-headed monster to spearhead the rotation. Their pitching rotation has a 3-headed monster up top, and I think that's kind of what gives me the confidence level, even though they did just lose 2 out of 3 to the Pirates. But, oh well, we all lose bad games here and there. The Mariners, I'm going to put them a little bit lower, I think. This is a really hard call, right? Some of their rotation has been dinged up this year. You go look at their rotation. I'm sure I can pull it up right now. Give me 30 seconds. Move myself down so we can look at their rotation. Actually, I don't know the best place to put myself. Probably right here. Wu has been healthy. He's been their best starter through and through. Castillo's just been an innings eater. That's just kind of what he is at this point. 4 ERA is like, it's fine. It's not Luis Castillo. The guy's been an all-star before. Logan Gilbert's been in and out. Of course, you can see only 103 innings. George Kirby, 96 ERA over 100. These guys are established good pitchers. Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, these guys have been really good pitchers before. Even Bryce Miller, who you can't see on the screen, who's been hurt. These guys have been good pitchers before. They just haven't been that good this year, right? And then on top of that, they've been throwing this guy way too much. I'm sorry. Everson Hancock always gets it whenever I talk about the Mariners because he just throws every time I watch the Mariners, it feels like. I turn on a Mariners game, Emerson Hancock is throwing, and he's given up 4 already. The back of their bullpen is like, okay, I like Munoz, he's a beast. Bizzardo's been really good this year. Gabe Spire has killed lefties. That's just his job, right? The rest of their bullpen's fucking mid. I don't know, man. This team is weird. I don't like it. Where's Matt Brash at? Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's not bad, actually. I want to believe more, man. Naylor got hurt. Where's Eugenio? 97. Ooh. I don't know, man. I'd love to have them higher, but I can't. They've been playing like 500 baseball recently. Like, okay, but not elite. I don't know, man. I really want to root for this Mariners team, but at the same time, I don't know. It's hard to. Their pitching is just hasn't been healthy all year, and it's hard to kind of piece that together in the last month of the season. Texas Rangers are up next. They're going to move down mainly because they're pitching with Nate Eovaldi gone. Now you're talking about your innings pitch leader is Jacob deGrom, and then number 2 I think is Pat Corbin, and Pat Corbin has had an all right year for an innings eater. Hell yeah, he threw an 8-inning shutty against the Angels, I believe. Pretty good outing. The Rangers are just odd, man. Corey Seager's got the appendectomy going on. I don't like it. I don't like it. You got two of the best players on the team, Eovaldi and Seager, down right now in a playoff stretch. I just don't have a ton of confidence in them. The back end of their bullpen, low-key, hasn't been bad last time I checked. I want to check again, though. Yeah, no, it's actually been pretty good. Robert Garcia, he's blown his fair share of saves. But Hobie's been untouchable. That sidearm lefty. Sean Armstrong, I mean, these aren't bad numbers for a bullpen. Chris Martin's having a great year. And then they also picked up Merrill Kelly, who's been all right since midseason. It's an all right-ass team. I don't know. With Nate Eovaldi gone, that's your ERA plus and third most innings guy on the team. You know, I don't know. I think it's just so rough, and Malley's still out. I don't know. It's just, I don't believe in the starting pitching, especially with these two out, or not these two, those two out, Tyler Mahle and Nate Eovaldi. Two incredible pitchers who've had great years just gone. Actually, they're two best starting pitchers by ERA plus this year. I'd expect down the stretch we might see a Jacob deGrom shutdown if things don't get better for the Rangers soon. But as for right now, their last 10 games, 9-1. 9-1. Hard to argue with the results, but at the same time, I'm arguing with the results. I still am. I don't know. With a couple of pitcher injuries, I just have my doubts about this team. That's why they're put so low. I think the Brewers just have to go a step above everyone else. They have to. I don't think I have that much confidence in them in terms of winning the World Series because, like, they're the Brewers. They always find a way to fudge it down the stretch. But they have things that other teams don't. They have, like, 9 guys who can all hit down the lineup. Contreras, Frelick, Churio hopefully gets well soon. That's rough to see. But you also talk about, like, Terang. You know, everyone can hit. Andrew Vaughn goes there. He can hit now. Monasterio had a big game not too long ago. It's such a weird team because everyone is just an okay hitter. And then you go to their bullpen and it's like, or not their bullpen, you go to their pitching staff and you see Freddie Peralta, who should be getting Cy Young votes this year. You see Quinn Priester, who's had a really, really good put-together season for them. Brandon Woodruff's back. Man. 50-plus innings pitched. Just stay healthy, big guy. One of my favorite pitchers in the league when he's working. They just have to go up higher just because of how good they've been more recently. Even though, like, Mizorowski's been bad since coming off the IL. I don't know what they're going to do about that one. Mizorowski kind of being bad since his IL stint. I don't know really what about that. Did something change? Is he still hurt? Is the worry for me, at least. But the one thing that I don't worry about is the back end of their bullpen. They've blown some games recently, specifically Jared Koenig last time I saw. But you're talking about Abner Uribe. Even with Trevor McGill going down, you're talking about Abner Uribe, who's filthy. Abner Uribe is maybe my favorite reliever in ball right now. The guy is filthy, right? Nick Mears, very good. Jared Koenig, I know he messed up the last opportunity he had, but he's still rock solid. They have countless bullpen arms that just come up and work. Where's DL Hall at? He hurt? It's just a pesky-ass lineup. They're like the Blue Jays, but if the Blue Jays had better pitching, you know, like a better bullpen. I feel like that's where I'd be with the Blue Jays if they had a better bullpen. You know, the Blue Jays don't have a solid closer, but you look at the Brewers and it's like with Trevor McGill, that's their closer. But even if he's not there, Abner Uribe is so filthy, bro. I keep singing his praise because he's just been so good. But like even like I said, Nick Mears, all these guys out of the back end of their bullpen that just throw well and it works, and they play such good defense that, man, even if you are hitting their pitchers, they're probably going to make the play anyways. So they have the high confidence level because of how good they've been. But at the same time, there are falters in their armor. You know, like I said, Mizorowski's been miserable since he's come back. You know, their bullpen is hittable at times. They have like the least amount of blown saves in the league this year. I'd assume the Rockies lead the league in blown saves because they don't often have the lead. I mean, lead the league is like have the least. You know what I mean? In a good way. But the Brewers are definitely the highest confidence level just because they have such a put-together roster. But at the same time, they have falters. They have areas where they can be beat. And on top of that, they're, again, similar to like Detroit, where it's like they have a bunch of good hitters. I don't think they have a good elite one. Churio was really, really good. But of course, he's kind of dinged up. William Contreras has turned it up a lot this second half, and I love to see that. If William Contreras can turn into that guy for them, More power to them, man, because I love Big Bill, Big Bullet Bill. The Phillies are still going to go up here. Man, I was kind of not critical, but I definitely wouldn't say I love their midseason acquisitions. Duran, Bader, those two guys have been spectacular. I know Bader blew a save to the Mets. He is such a funny closer because his blown saves, I mean, did you see that inning against the Mets when he blew the save? Single, 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 single. Death by paper cut. Quite entertaining. But I think about their starting rotation without Zach Wheeler, and it's still all right. Like, it's not that bad. Nola should be coming into form eventually. He's back. He threw relatively well his last outing. He should be coming back in anytime soon and looking good. Chris Sanchez is another guy who should be a Cy Young front runner. Ranger Suarez has been fantastic. Luzardo has his problems, but overall I still think he can throw you quality innings. You know, the back end of their bullpen with Duran I don't think what's his name. Alvarado's back, but he's not eligible for playoffs, right? Because of a PED suspension. I think he's not eligible, right? Like Profar. Kind of sad what's happened to my boy Max Lazar. I thought he was going to be like a feature piece for their bullpen. He's been kind of dinged up. But overall, even without Mr. Zach Wheeler, I just still have so much confidence in the Phillies, man. They're like the old guard of the National League, where it's like they've had this core in place forever. JT Realmuto changed his swing. I saw people were saying that. Realmuto changed his swing a little bit. So that's interesting, especially this late in the season, because he had been struggling basically all season. So I guess it makes sense to try something. Just keep trying it, you know. But even without their big name, Zach Wheeler, big guy on the board, I don't know. I still feel like I have some confidence in them. The Dodgers are in such a funny spot to me because if you look at their baseball reference page, you realize one thing very quickly. They only have 2 pitchers who've thrown over 100 innings this year. That's it. It is, hold on, it's Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and maybe, like, Emmett Sheehan? Who is it? It's Dustin May, who's no longer even on the team anymore. That's pretty funny. Where do I put? I don't know, because if they're healthy, if Blake Snell's there, if Tyler Glasnow's still put together by then, if Mookie Betts is just continuing to play well, like recently it feels like he's kind of turned it up a little bit, you can get really, really, like, you can be a World Series favorite with this roster. But can they stay on the field? I don't know. And I think that's what has me a little bit lower on them. I think they could still win it all. This isn't me saying you should write the Dodgers out. Dude, they have Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Teoscar Hernandez, who's been kind of underwhelming this year, but he could turn it around. But even like Tommy Edman. Like, these guys are players who can turn it up. Shohei Ohtani. I don't even think I mentioned Shohei fucking Ohtani. It's just their pitcher staying healthy. And we've known that all year with the Dodgers. Like, Clayton Kershaw's been fantastic. That's a side note. But we've known that all year with the Dodgers is the fact that they've just been hurt, dead. As a matter of fact, it feels like half the roster is just dead. I don't know where they went. They're just gone forever. If they're healthy, they should be the favorites. If they're rolling in with 3 pitchers, I'm going to have them a little bit lower. I like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, but I don't know. It's really weird. I think I could put them up another scale. You know what? I think I'm gonna. It's fair. Blake Snell's back. Glasnow's back. You're just relying on them to kind of fix things and get into the groove for the playoffs at this point. I move them up because I think they still have the hitting. Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts. Like, they're still all in the lineup. Even though Mookie's been mid this season, he's still in the lineup, and I still have belief in him. So, yeah, I think the Dodgers can still win a World Series with this roster, even though they've been dead all year. This is a wild team. The Cubs are a wild team, man, because they go get swept by the Giants, but they're like, I don't know. That sweep to the Giants was definitely something where I was like, what the fuck just happened? I had no idea. Their pitching is like, some of them are pretty damn good. Matt Boyd's having a great year. That's my guy. I think what's haunting the Cubs, at least in my opinion, is the fact that it didn't pull that trigger for Sandy Alcantara. I know there was some hesitance there, but Sandy's been kind of lights out since the break, so that's kind of rough to see. Their hitting can get them over the top, but their pitching is really what worries me, man. Matt Boyd's putting together a pretty decent year, but like Colin Ray was on the roster for, I haven't seen Colin Ray pitch in a minute, it feels like, but I know he's still there. And then you also have like Ben Brown, who's awful, not going to see, hopefully he doesn't pitch in the playoffs unless it's a blowout. I don't know, man. This Cubs team is wild because they can hit. They can. But a lot of their guys are starting to kind of taper off. Pete Crow Armstrong, the story's been since the second half. He hasn't hit very well. just kind of how it's been. The Cubs are such a weird team with me, where I think they could do it if their lineup gets hot again, but that's the thing. If their lineup gets hot again, that includes Happ, Seiya, Tuck, who's been better recently. All these guys that were really good to start the year, Carson Kelly, stay good in the back end, and they're going to make the playoffs. It's just a matter of fact of can they win it all. And at the same time, I'm like, I don't know, can they? They're really weird. Their pitching staff just isn't deep enough for me, especially with Steele down and having to rely on, like, it's Imanaga, and Matt Boyd as your top two. I'm not the biggest fan of that. The Padres. This is I think they're going to have to go into this 40 to 60 as well, because their starting rotation, man, it's the starters. Michael King is down, but other than Michael King was supposed to be the ace of this rotation. Instead, it's become Nick Pivetta. Dylan Cease could have been the ace of this rotation. Instead, he's a shell of himself. And then you look at the other ones, and it's like, okay, Yu Darvish is having a terrible season, like really bad. Nestor Cortez is there. He could throw you some innings to end the year. I think he could be a plus pitcher down the stretch for them. But if you look at it, if you're in a game one right now and you're the Padres, your game one is going to be handed to Nick Pivetta. That's weird to say. That game one is probably going to be handed to Nick Pivetta, your best pitcher. Maybe game two. I don't know. Either way, he's going to need to pitch big games. That's ace. That's a little bit ridiculous to say, but Nick Pivetta is ace for this team, and I think that's what kills my confidence level in them. Even though their bullpen is still freaking amazing, even though Jason Adams' leg just blew up yesterday, ruptured his quad. I was gonna say ruptured his the thing that happened to Charlie Morton, where the comebacker hit him in the back of the leg, and yeah, you know what I mean. The fibula. That's what I was thinking of. But even with Jason Adam down, their bullpen's still electric. Morahone has been great. Suarez has been great. Of course, Mason Miller is terrific. Their bullpen is just so good. Yuki Matsui's been their worst bullpen piece and their worst contract on roster. I don't know whose contract's worse, Yuki's or Bogart's. Probably Bogart's because it's longer. I don't know. Their offense is just skittish too. Like Tatis has been cooling down. He's been hurt too. Machado's okay. The one that's been carrying their damn offense is Razor Ramon Laureano. I don't know how long that's going to last. But overall, I'm rooting for this Padres team because I think they have a bunch of guys that I just like. But their starting rotation is really what worries me as we move on to the Metropolitans. Again, it's the starting rotation. That's it. And even when their starters put in good work, you still have Ryan Helsley out the back end who's tipping, allegedly, maybe. You're hoping that it's tipping, because if tipping isn't the issue, he's just bad. That's not what you want to hear. But the Mets starting rotation is just the worry, man. Deep Pete is my guy. Senga's been terrible. Their bullpen isn't necessarily great either, as much as I love Edwin Diaz behind him. It's just kind of rough, Helsley was supposed to be that setup guy. He's been not great. Rogers has come in and been fine. Tyler Rogers, I believe they have. He's come in and just been fine for them. But I don't know, man. It's the pitching that's just been rough. Kodai Senga specifically. If they needed a Game 1 starter, or a Game 7 starter even, I'd assume Kodai would have been that guy for a while. But would you still give it to Kodai Senga with how rough he's been? I can't say yes or no comfortably. Clay Holmes is funny, man, because if he just catches that ball going to first base, he ends up having a pretty damn good start. Instead, it ends up being a blow-up start. I've seen Mets fans complaining, trying to move him back to the bullpen, which is insane. I have no idea, man. The Mets pitching staff has just been brutally bad recently. And that worries me. That really worries me, because I don't know if that'll just change come playoff time, The Reds, to me, are a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs, especially when rotations sink. You're not going to see Brady Singer. You're going to be seeing Abbott, Lodolo, Green. And that is a mean three right there that you're going to get thrown at you. I know they're higher than the Rangers, and I have the same level of confidence in them in the Yankees. I don't really care, honestly. I think their offense is pretty damn mid, don't get me wrong. Like, Matt McClain's been underwhelming, Spencer Steer's been underwhelming, but, like, Noelvi Marte's been good. Ellie has struggled bad recently. Like, he's been terrible recently. But, like, it's their rotation. And then their bullpen's pretty good. Emilio Pagan, Tony Santillan. Like, they have some good bullpen pieces, some above-average bullpen pieces, to go with the fact that they have 3 great starters. They have 3 of them. And that's, I don't know, man, I just really like that. And a team that could make the playoffs, or the wild card specifically, you don't want to see the Reds in the wild card. You're going to have to face Hunter Green. You're going to have to face either Andrew Abbott or Nick Lodolo. And those are two, you're going to have to face all three if it's a 3-game set. And that's not what you want to see as a team. You better hope that the Reds don't get hot and make that wild card push, because you don't want to see that pitching staff specifically. That's just what I'm scared of. Their lineup is a bunch of softies. I can't lie. TJ Friedl is like cool. He plays a great center field, but as a hitter, he's just kind of cool. You know, Ellie's their best hitter, but he's been kind of mid this year, not as great. I still believe in them as a pitching staff, and I think that's what boosts them a little bit up higher than the Rangers. These are the tiers. Like I said, I didn't know if anyone was going to go into over 80. We're at the point where, in terms of like, do I feel confident in this team's ability to make the World Series? I can make arguments for and against every singular team here. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's really tough to kind of break down. Let me know down in the comments below what you would change. If you've enjoyed this video, you should subscribe. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go catch a game. See you guys in the next one.